Hello, everyone. My name is Lara Assi. I am originally Lebanese. I am based in London, and I am a Web3 and AI consultant, and I'm also a Web3 educator. I am very passionate about passing on the knowledge, and it's all about that's what you see in Web3. It really warms my heart that we have a lot of participants today from these 6 partner countries. Thank you very much. Before we start, if I can please ask you to do 3 things. First of all, just type what country you're joining us from. We're really eager to get to know you and know where you're connecting from. And the second thing is Natalie is going to be kind enough to share in the chat a form, like a very small form. It's going to take 45 seconds from you at the end of this session to fill, just to know more about you as people. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat or just save them for later. Please make sure that you ask any question that comes to mind. There is no such thing as a stupid question. We all have asked these questions before, and it is a Web3 ethos for people to be very much open and to pass the knowledge and to help anyone who wants to enter the space. So don't be scared about asking these questions, and anything that you don't understand, especially in the tech side, please drop us a line in the chat. So, thank you for joining. The training's title is called Digital Innovation, Web3 and NFTs, and how they're empowering artists and building communities. I'm going to be giving you this training alongside Natalie and Dada, two of the kick-ass women in this space. Very much an honor to share this training with you guys. So, without further ado, let's start. I'm going to just take you in a small journey on what are we going to cover, hopefully. The first part is understanding the evolution of the web and understanding infrastructures, because any new technology or innovative technologies, they have an infrastructure to start with. And the infrastructure of all things NFTs are 2 things. Web3, because Web3 is the internet that has welcomed NFTs to this world. And NFTs is one of Web3's ecosystem, falls under Web3's ecosystems. And the second thing is blockchain, because that's where NFTs live. This is where you create an NFT on. This is where you do your transactions or trading. So it's really important for us to kickstart this training with some basic, I'd say, technical overview that we're going to try to make it as non-technical as possible. But that's how we're going to start. We're going to start with the evolution of the web. Web3 did not come from nowhere. Web3 is based on Web2, and Web2 is based on Web1. So let's understand the journey of the internet from the 90s until this day. And then we're going to talk about the blockchain basics. So what is the significance of blockchain technology, and what's the structure of it? And then we're going to move to some use cases, blockchain use cases. Who is using blockchain? How are they using it? We're going to move to Ethereum as well. Why are we talking about Ethereum? Not because we love Ethereum or we're affiliated or we're making any money out of Ethereum, but because Ethereum was the first blockchain network to facilitate the trade and creation of NFTs. So we really need to talk about that. We're going to move into smart contracts as well, and the Web3 ecosystem. We'll talk about that later. And then part 2, which we're going to cover a very small part of in this session, and then we're going to continue on the 12th of October, is what are NFTs. So we're going to dive into what NFTs are, how do they function, how can we use them, the use cases, of course, the history of NFTs, where did we start, when did the hype begin, and where are we now, how to build a brand, absolutely. And then we're going to talk about some NFT utilities and where to find NFTs, how to mint the NFT, and how to sell it. Yeah, so I'm going to hand over the first part, which is the journey of the internet, to my dear colleague, Natalie. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm so happy everyone's here. This is really exciting. Um, so before I start, I just want to say, like, if anyone has any question, please, we're gonna have like time for questions, because when I started in the Web3, like, I didn't understand anything. So there's no stupid questions. This is a free space and anyone can ask anything. Um, so what is Web 1? Okay, Web 1, it's it's like a read-only web. So it's like, let's go back to the basics. You guys remember Yahoo, Google, MSN. These are information where users can send emails, reading articles, looking facts. It's a static web. And then there's something called Web 2. So in Web 2, you can read and write, which is a different interactive and dynamic big shift in technology. So here people would use social media, use blogs, people can generate content on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. There's platforms, basically platforms that you can connect, share, and create. And and um, and then there's Web3. So the Web3, it's what we will be talking about. It's the decentralized web. So sometimes it's often referred as semantic web or intelligent web, and it focuses on the internet, the machines, the smarter. I don't know if you guys have heard of the AI. So AI, it's like the machine learning, Internet of Things. Um, so this is what we're gonna go through today. So the metaverse, examples of Web3 are cryptocurrencies. They're intermediaries. There's no intermediaries. It's decentralized. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Natalie. So some terms that they use for Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Web 1 was the read-only web. Web 2 was the read-write, and then Web 3 is the read-write-own. As Natalie was saying, in Web 1, it was a one-way thing. It was you could not interact with what you're seeing on the internet. You can just browse websites, and then we moved into Web 2, where you can interact with other people on the internet. You can post and upload your content, and that's when the social media boom happened. It's in Web 2. We started seeing the likes of Facebook, YouTube. People are actually able to upload or participate in this internet. But at the same time, participation is a double-edged sword, because even if you have this access to the internet now, your data and your content is not owned by you alone. It is greatly monetized by Web2 giants, and I'm sure that everyone knows that data is very expensive now. It's gold, as they say. It's digital gold. So they've been Web2 giants. They've been doing a lot of money off of our back, off of our creations, input, any type of data that we upload to any platform is being monetized by these giants. And that's when Web3 came. And Web3 was like, this is not allowed anymore. Web2, we're going to take it from here. And and Web3 introduced the idea of decentralization and user ownership, meaning that you would own any content that you have online, and you would be the sole person who can give access to any organization in using your data, and you can actually monetize off of this. So your creations are being monetized by yourself, and you're turning from that passive consumer to an active stakeholder. And we're going to dive into that in a moment, but let's talk about Web3's ecosystem. What technologies are under Web3's umbrella? I'm going to start with blockchain, because blockchain is the technology that is the infrastructure. So think of the blueprints when you want to start building or whatever, you start with a very solid foundation, and this foundation should be able to support anything that is built on top of it. And that's blockchain that we're going to dive into in a moment. DApps, decentralized apps. So think of any app that you use on your phone now, that's a centralized app. There is an owner, an entity that's owning this app, and you are using it as a user. And you have a lot of middlemen in these apps that would scrape away subscription fees or percentage on sales, whatever. So there are lots of middlemen in applications, the standard applications that we know now, as opposed to dApps, which is decentralized applications. They are applications that promote peer-to-peer interactions, meaning Dada and I can now trade with one another or send money to each other, or I can buy an NFT from Dada without a middleman taking that bigger cut. So it's a very much peer-to-peer interaction. Moving on, I'm going to move very quickly on other stuff because we need to focus on NFTs, but I'm going to move to the metaverse. So the metaverse is that virtual world that we've all been hearing about. I'm not sure if someone is some of you have already went and explored the metaverse, but it is this virtual parallel continuous world where things happen. You have I'm sorry, if I can ask everyone to please mute yourselves. Thank you. So you can do everything in the metaverse. You can hang out, you can play, you can buy land, you can sell merchandise. It's the same as our world and our interactions, but it's virtual and it's continuous. So if you log off from the metaverse today and you go tomorrow, you're gonna find, I don't know, new buildings, new games, new people. It's a continuous world. And to access the metaverse, you can use either immersive hardware, such as VR, VR hardwares, or you can access them through your phones or your laptops. Cryptocurrency. So we use, traditional money in our day-to-day real world, I'd say, or physical world. This money, we call it fiat, F-I-A-T. And the money that we use in Web3 ecosystems, especially when wanting to buy any digital asset or just to trade on the chain, we will have to be using cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrencies are digital currencies, just like we have a pound or a euro. It is a mode of exchange, but that's digital and it also lives on the chain, on the blockchain. We have decentralized finance, which is also a very big subject. Decentralized finance is one of the most promising Web3 technologies, to be honest, and it's really booming right now. We have the Internet of Things, augmented reality, and AI somewhere. I've missed to include it, but AI is a very big part of Web3 as well. So as you can see, we have a lot of different interconnected innovative technologies that sit under Web3's umbrella. One of them is NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, and we're going to be mostly talking about that, about NFTs. Great. So before we start with talking about blockchain, it's really important to understand what decentralization is and why is it important for all things Web3. So if we just do a small comparison between centralized systems versus decentralized networks, if I'm talking about a centralized system, we can, for example, take banks. So today, the banks are centralized systems. They are controlled by a single entity, whether it's a group of people or a group of bigger banks. It is controlled by a small single entity. And this small single entity does not give you a lot of transparency. So if I'm going to the bank and I say, hey, how much does Natalie have in her account? this would, they would kick you out of the bank, because there's no transparency to the users. There is no transparency to any person, not only users, any person who would like to know what's going on in that ledger, in the bank's ledger. How much money do people have? How much do I have? Who has transferred what to who? All of these are, a no-no in these centralized systems. And the problem is that when you have all of the control with all of this control in the hands of a few people, it's gonna make your data or your input in anything very much vulnerable to a single point of failure. And we can see that, for example, in Lebanon. I'm not going to talk about the corruption and what happened, but basically people just lost access or lost their money in the banks because of these single points of failure. And that single point of failure was very much tied into corruption, into a failed banking system and whatnot. So people woke up one day and they couldn't have access to their money. So this is all centralization. We don't like centralization at all. And we really vouch for decentralization and decentralized networks, because they really give you all of the control and all of the ownership of any asset that you have, whether it's a physical asset or a digital asset. Now, what's important about decentralized networks is that the participation is distributed into lots of nodes or computers or multiple participants. So if we go back to that bank, everyone that is working in the bank, as well as any customer in that bank, they are all able to contribute to a decentralized network. They all have a say on what's gonna happen or what's gonna be an outcome of a certain event. There is no such thing as one small entity or a small group of people controlling what's happening in a decentralized network, such as blockchain. And when you distribute this information and these transactions on a lot of people, you don't have a single point of failure issue anymore. So you have a lot of resistance to this problem, and you have that enhanced transparency. As I was saying, everyone can know what you own, what you traded, but they don't know you as Lara Assi or as Dada or as Natalie. They don't know who you are. The only thing that they can know is your wallet address, for example, or the transaction that you've made. But your identity is kept very much private. And that's something we're gonna talk into in later stages about the perks of using blockchain. So just going back to this slide, centralized systems and what they entail versus decentralized networks and what they offer to the end user. And now we can start talking about blockchain. So guys, please don't freak out if there are terms that you don't understand. Just write in the comments any question. And if we feel that this needs a lot of time to explain, we can always jump on WhatsApp, Telegram, LinkedIn, whatever you guys want, and we can just dive deeper into your question. So blockchain, I'm gonna go back to the bank's ledger. So banks have ledgers and they have every transaction that happens recorded on that ledger. However, no one can see this ledger. No one has access to it. There is no transparency whatsoever. Now, blockchain is a decentralized digital ledger. What does that mean? It's a public database. So think of this database as accessible to everyone and anyone who has access to the internet. You can just jump on that network and see what type of transactions are being there, how much money is being transferred to people, who owns this NFT, who is doing what on chain. All of this information is readily available and transparent on a blockchain network. So the term block, and this is very important. So the term block, and if you want to think about how a blockchain looks like, well, actually it doesn't look like that, but this is how it functions, is blocks of data chained together, cryptographically chained. So this block of data has a metadata inside of it. And in order for this block to be validated, you have a lot of people, computers, or nodes, as we were saying, because this is decentralized. So everyone has a say in what's happening. Everyone who is involved, who is an active part of the chain, have a say. All of these people would give you consensus on what's being stored in this block. Again, I told Dada, hi Dada, how are you? I want to buy this digital asset from you. How much do you want? And Dada went like, well, I am pricing this digital asset at 1 Bitcoin. Wow, that's expensive, Dada, but it's fine. I'm going to pay you 1 Bitcoin. And I start my initiation and I start to do this transaction, for example, on the chain. So what happens usually in banks, you have, again, that single control freak entity that would actually validate it. In blockchain, you don't have that. You have people, normal people, thousands and thousands of people validating this. They would go to my account and they would check. Of course, this is all automated, but I'm just giving you like a small storytelling of how blockchain works. So they would go to my wallet, my digital wallet, and see, does Lara have 1 Bitcoin? And then my wallet would say, yes, she does. I don't have a Bitcoin, by the way. I wish I had 1 full Bitcoin. But
Lara,
then,
Lara,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the screen is half cut, so some people can't read the blockchain basics.
Really? What can you, like, can you see the small paragraph?
I think it's okay,
yeah.
honestly speaking.
Okay.
I think we just cut off the top line and the bottom line. So
Yeah,
I would
I'm not really
sorry
sure
about
why, to be honest. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. But if
It's a bit,
if it's
it's for your
mostly
fantasy. You can imagine your fantasy. Okay, it's blockchain basics and it's future. So yes, we had the problem before. We excuse for that, but I would continue now. I think it's okay. We can read the main text. And
okay, perfect.
yeah,
Okay.
but there's a hand up.
Yeah, Julia is asking,
perhaps
wants to ask a
attend her
question.
now. Yeah, Julia, go ahead.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good,
Fine.
Julia. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I think we're not allowed to type. Please check on that as well.
Oh, then it's the way you are logged in MS Teams, because I think some people can type. Sometimes it helps if you go off and in again. So if you go off and in the next second, I will let you in again. Try that, Julia.
All right.
Otherwise, I'm sorry, but then we have you in mind. No, Natalie. So if Julia raises her hand, she gets attended because you cannot use the chat. So please test all your chat functions. If somebody else cannot use the chat, please raise your hand so we attend you directly.
Yeah,
but
no
let's
problem.
see.
If you can't text, we'll put your hand up and
Yeah.
I'll just call your name out.
But preferred is the chat, of course, because then Lara is not so interrupted and the others can answer some of your questions meanwhile. But Julia, I think she tried not to go out and in. So yeah, please, Lara, continue. Sorry for the interruption.
No, not to worry. So who was I buying from? Was it Dada or Natalie? I was buying from you, Natalie.
Me.
From Dada. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Dada, yeah.
So these nodes, these computers, these people who are participating on that blockchain would say, yes, in fact, Lara has that 1 Bitcoin. And then they go to Dada and say, well, Dada, do you actually have that NFT or that digital asset that you want to sell for 1 Bitcoin? And they do that consensus and they find out that, yes, Dada actually has that NFT. So the swap happens. I would pay Dada 1 Bitcoin and Dada would transfer the ownership of that NFT to me. Now, all of this is in 1 block, for example. That's 1 block of the chain, and that block is chained forever with thousands and thousands of other blocks. That's like a small overview of how a transaction would happen on the blockchain. Everything that I've told you, no one would actually lift a button and do. This is all automated, and this is all it all involves standards, it involves contracts, smart contracts, and we're going to be talking all about smart contracts and Ethereum requests for comments, or ERCs, in a later stage. So this is what I was talking about. How does a blockchain work? So it's a chain that is binding transparent blocks. Everyone can see what's inside the block, and each block would hold a piece of information. Now, this information is represented by a hash. Think of a hash as our fingerprint, for example. Each one of us has a unique fingerprint that you cannot change or forge. So these hashes, or the hashing mechanism, makes sure that every single block or every single metadata that is added to the chain is unique and cannot be changed. So if we want to just visualize how a blockchain works, the first block, so let's say that I started, I've launched my blockchain today, a new blockchain. I've built a blockchain from scratch, and I want to start adding data. So the first box or block that a blockchain has is called the Genesis block. What is significant about this block is that it has a hash, but it doesn't have a hash that is tied to any other block, just because it's the first one. And that's why we call it the Genesis block. Now, say that this block is filled and I want to add more information or metadata to my chain. What happens here is that we fill block 2 with all of the information, and a hash is automatically generated for this block. Notice that, of course, the hash is not only for numbers and letters. It's a very big mathematical, I'd say, interpretation of numbers and letters. It's like a code. It's encrypted as well. So this hash, if you can see here, 3Q9Q, for example, is the block's hash. However, this hash also includes the previous block's hash. So the fingerprint of block 2 is actually the fingerprint of block 2 and 1 together, binded forever. When you want to add more data, block 3 has a hash that also includes the previous hash, and the previous hash already automatically includes the hash before it. So that's why when we talk about transparency, security, and integrity of blockchain networks, this is why. It's all about the hashing mechanism. It's all about people or individuals or organizations not being able to tamper with any of the information or change or alter any of the information that is recorded on the blockchain. Now, what are the benefits of blockchain, and why are organizations using blockchain or switching to blockchain technology? Decentralization, as we were explaining before, it gives really a lot of power to the people that are using it, and ownership as well. Security, as I was explaining, through hashing, no one can actually hack, change, modify, or alter anything that is already on chain. Transparency, as we talked about, that transparent box where everyone can see what everyone else is doing. And efficiency, absolutely, because efficiency, when you have a system that is secure, transparent, and decentralized, that would automatically promote efficiency. Now, as we were talking, there are a lot of cryptocurrencies out there, and these cryptocurrencies are the mode of, or they are the commodities in a way or another of blockchain technologies. Bitcoin, I'm not going to really dive into the history of Bitcoin because we're going to talk about Ethereum in a bit, but Bitcoin was one of the very first cryptocurrencies, and the Bitcoin blockchain was the very first chain ever. It was created by someone who is called Satoshi Nakamoto, but no one knows this person. And we always say between us that we think it's a female, not a male. We even have t-shirts like Satoshi is female because we think that females can come up with great ideas that serve other people and the world. So Bitcoin was created around 2008, and I'm not gonna dive into Bitcoin a lot, but I'm gonna give it as an example. If I am using a transaction using Bitcoin to buy or sell anything, I'm gonna show you what happens. And now, when I want to initiate the transaction as well, it's gonna involve a series of steps. Now, just like a fun fact, that we have around 10,000 active Bitcoin nodes. And if you remember, I was talking about nodes or people, individuals with computers contributing to the chain. You have 10,000 active Bitcoin nodes right now. And when we say nodes, what do nodes do? They facilitate the transaction. As I was explaining to you, they validate both sides, and they also maintain a copy of the blockchain. So today, the Bitcoin blockchain is not accessible through one through a centralized system. Bitcoin blockchain lives and breathes on thousands and thousands of computers, and that's why it cannot be hacked. It has never been hacked as well. So a small overview of what happens. So as we said, a transaction is requested. I'm asking Dada for that NFT. I want a hold of it. I love it. I want to pay for it. I'm requesting a transaction. Now, this transaction is going to be represented by a block. And this block is going to fly away to these nodes and say, hello, hello, node 1, hello, node 2, hello, node 3. I have this transaction inside of me. Can you please validate? Nodes validate the transaction. And what's in it for the nodes, you may ask, why are these people wasting their time and validating things online? Because they get a reward. And that's the proof of work. If anyone would like to research what proof of work is, because it needs like 14 hours of explaining. But proof of work means that if you give to the network will give you back. And that's normally in the form of bits and pieces of Bitcoin as a reward. So these nodes, these people are verifying these or validating these transactions that are happening. And then after the validation happens, these nodes receive the reward, which is like 0.00 whatever Bitcoin. And this new transparent block is added to the current chain, and the update is automatically pushed to everyone. Like, hey, hello, this happened today. Lara bought this from Dada, just to let you know, guys. So the transparency of this network really promotes trust. For me, I feel so much better to know that people are or these nodes are doing these transactions and not people that I don't know, I've never heard of, and who can just take away my money or take away my data without asking me. So small overview of what happens behind the scenes. And I was talking about hashing. I'm just gonna go very quickly through this. If you see on the right hand side, I have written two statements. The first one is NFTs will rule the world, hopefully. And the other one is NFTs will rule the world, but I just flipped two letters. So in the first one, you can see that this NFT, through the hashing process, through this mathematical, very complex, no one understands what's happening on the back end, it gives us this hash, which is the string of characters and numbers that you see here. Now, if I want to give another input and I change or just flip two letters, you can see that the new hash has nothing to do with the old hash. And this shows you that nothing can be duplicated or altered on chain. You can only add new information. And if you want to alter something, you have to actually take what you did down, like burn that NFT. We're going to talk about burning in a later stage. But even if you do burn that NFT, you can, it's just not in trading, or it's not in use anymore, but the burn itself is going to also be recorded on chain. Everything's recorded on chain. Anything that you do online, on chain is recorded. Sylvia, hi Sylvia, can I ask you to mute your mic, please? Thank you. And the whole idea of hashing is that it's very much essential for the integrity and security of the data on the blockchain. And I think that I am gonna leave the floor to Dada now. Dada, are you with us?
Hello, hello. Yes, I am here. Can you hear me well? You've done an awesome job kicking us off, Lara. And although I know the tech parts can be a bit difficult, bear with us because this is what moves the industry. And this is what sets the trend. And once you understand the technology point of it all, it's easier for you to, onboard your business. It's easier for you to onboard your projects. And that's why we're now in this slide, which is called Blockchain for Business. Lara has spoken about so many things, but just to mention a few key words is transparency. She's mentioned about security. She's mentioned about validation. She's mentioned about proof. And within all this, what are we looking for as businesses? We're looking for something that can instill confidence into our audiences, right? We need to connect with our community. We need to show them that we are here to do the job and we're here to do it right. So the blockchain is for many businesses. And although many of us think NFTs is just art, it is not. And many people even think NFTs are blockchain, but here you learn that it is not. And many different types of businesses can apply use cases onto the blockchain. It's just a matter of what you are trying to find value in. And so you can see people within the healthcare sector, within insurance, within the most common banking and payments, cybersecurity. And think of it this way. Even in voting systems, if we were able to apply blockchain use cases, and I think that would bring about transparency. In many of the countries within Africa per se, I know we've always had issues with the counting of the votes or, discrepancies with the vote numbers. What if we could change that? What if we could actually see in real time? What if we could all access this information? The blockchain enables that, and that is the value that the blockchain gives to your business. So next, we're going to move to understanding Ethereum. So Ethereum in itself is a blockchain platform, and it incorporates a built-in computer. A lot of people know Ethereum to be what I call a layer 1. And there's layer 1 and there's layer 2. And layer 1 and layer 2 solutions are mostly concerned with how we scale on the blockchain. So Ethereum serves as a foundation for creating applications, and these applications are called dApps, and the D stands for decentralized, which we've already talked about. So there's no need for permission, and there's no need for a central authority to kind of govern what we're doing, because we can all see and we all take active participation in this. So Ethereum, the blockchain, has these things we call gas fees. And gas fees, I would use the simple analogy of an Uber or a taxi. You get from one point to another, you need gas. The car needs gas to fuel the transaction. And you can think of these transactions as your destinations. So to get to one point to the next, you will need gas fees. So in the world of NFTs and in the world of minting NFTs, it's not as simple as, you know, posting something on Instagram, except it's like every step kind of has a fee for that. So exactly. So here you can see it's been written, think of gas as the fuel that powers the Ethereum network. Every transaction or smart contract operation requires a certain amount of gas, which represents the computational resources needed to make things happen. So what is Ether? And Ether is what you see is called ETH or from Ethereum. These are Ethereum and Ether are two different things. Ethereum is the blockchain and Ether is the native digital currency for the Ethereum platform. This is just like fiat or just like Kenyan shillings. This is what you use to kind of acquire or mint or trade NFTs or even make transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. So by having Ethereum as a medium of exchange, participants in the Ethereum network are economically incentivized to verify and execute transaction requests. So this is the validation part of it. And we provide the computational power back to the network. So you will find that Ethereum and gas fees fluctuate. It is not something that that comes in a flat rate, and mostly these changes are subjected to supply and demand, like how many transactions are being done at a specific point. And if you do it at that point, it's probably going to be more expensive. Back then, gas fees used to be all the way up to almost $500, but nowadays it's better and it's more accessible to more people within the community, and that's why you can see the Ethereum community is scaling very rapidly and is growing at exponential rate. The next page is on smart contract, and guys, let me know if I'm rushing through it. Only that these ones are more of terms that you need to grasp, and if something is not clear, just let us know. So on smart contracts, you've heard Lara talk about automation, and I think this is something a lot of businesses are looking to do, not just on the blockchain, but even with the use of AI. We're looking for something that can make our businesses more efficient, that can make our businesses more accurate, that can give us that automated feel. So smart contracts do exactly that. And these are self-executing agreements written in code. It automatically enforces and carries out the terms of the agreement when certain conditions are met. So let's say I'm minting my NFT on the foundation platform. Within the NFT transaction is a smart contract that allows if Lara was to actually buy my art piece for 1 Ethereum, I don't have to go back to Lara and tell her, please send me the 1 ETH. Excuse me, I'm waiting for the 1 ETH. It doesn't work like that. It's immediate because everything is validated and you know what's happening on both ends. And you have proof of ownership. So these smart contracts are self-executing. And so if Lara buys my art piece on like the foundation page, I automatically receive in exchange the 1 ETH in her wallet. So the terms and characteristics of a smart contract is that it's self-verifying within the code, it's self-executing within the code and the agreements that you have written, and it is tamper-proof, which means it is immutable. You cannot really ruin this without all of us seeing it. And as you said, you can burn some contracts, but all these transactions can still be, proven on the blockchain. So the next topic is on dApps, which are decentralized application. We're going to give you examples of Web3 projects and applications. And what I usually want to highlight is that Decentralized applications are kind of like the gateway to all Web3 technologies. And think of it kind of as a Play Store. Like you have Play Store, and Play Store has so many apps, you kind of lose count. So decentralized apps can come in many career forms, or they can suit many different consumers. And this is what we refer to as the next generation of the internet. So as I've said, a lot of these dApps kind of just function as the normal apps you see on the Play Store, but what is underlying is blockchain technology. And blockchain technology is kind of rapidly evolving. It's something that we're picking up. It's something that people can now, build their own blockchains, and people can participate in this new technology in many different ways. So the implementation of these technologies will require time to mature, but once they do, guys, the efficiency, the automation, the trust, and the longevity that we can get from a technical standpoint within our businesses just opens new doors and new opportunities. So the next page kind of explains the interfaces that we have on some of these Web3 sites and all these decentralized apps. So an example of like a decentralized app could be the marketplaces that we sell our NFTs on, music streaming sites, DEX, games, and cloud storage. As you can see here below, we have a Fox thing. That's the MetaMask app. And that's the wallet that holds cryptocurrencies, specific cryptocurrencies. And you'll find different wallets, and these wallets have apps, so dApps, decentralized apps. Up here, it's an example of the marketplaces. This one is called Rarible. I'm sorry, the top part is cut out, but this is how it looks. It's called Rarible, and it's an NFT platform that is well known and mostly used for selling limited edition or multiple edition and even one-on-ones, and in many, many different art forms. So more browsers that we have, the most common browser that we have on Web3 is called Brave, and I advise everyone to use Brave. Brave is better protection from big technology, and we've spoken about data and how much value our data has. So Brave offers better protection from big technology and Google, and they claim to be faster than Chrome, 3 times faster. So I don't know, but in Web3 we trust, and so I'm going to leave that page at that. If you want to explore more, just visit brave.com. So here are more examples of Web3 application. We've spoken about Brave browser, and Decentraland is more on the metaverse side. You can go and see the number of things that you can do on the metaverse, the number of things you can explore, the different realities. And it's not just about exploration, guys. Find opportunity within each and every one of these spaces. People are making so much money from the metaverse. People are making money from their time online. So it's exciting things that you can monetize while learning about Web3 applications. So we have storage, we have Step-In, we have Y-Sign, and we have ODS. Feel free to visit any more of those. And if you have any questions concerning what we've talked about, smart contracts, Ethereum, Ether, just drop them in the chat box. But for now, we're going to move swiftly into part 2, which is actually NFTs.
Before we
thank you so
continue, Shireen
Go
is
ahead.
asking if we can repeat the difference between Ether and Ethereum. Oh, you repeated. I just saw your message. Sorry.
And
Yeah, so we can just say that. So we were talking about blockchain as the network, the technology itself, and then you have currencies you need to use on that chain in order to trade and buy and sell, whatever. So just as, for example, I am in London, the system that I'm using is a banking system, let's say HSBC, and I use pounds. Now, think of, if you want to think about Ethereum, so Ethereum is your system as the blockchain, and ETH or Ether is the currency, is the cryptocurrency that you need to use while trading or doing any transaction on that chain. Did it answer is it clearer? Yeah?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Okay, thanks. Yeah, yes, Natalie, you were saying something?
Yeah, it's clear. But Barbara would like to see the previous slide
Okay,
with
sure.
the links again.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries. So we're moving now to the second part, but we're just gonna make a brief introduction and keep all of the excitement to October 12th. We're very sorry about an hour of technical, jargon, but we had to start this right in order for you to, dabble into these technologies. Really need to understand the basics. So thank you so much for bearing with us for the technical part. And now we're just gonna make a brief introduction about NFTs and then conclude this session. And we're gonna see you on the 12th later in October. And in the meantime, between now and the 12th, we're gonna be communicating lots of stuff with you, asking you to fill forms or asking you some questions in order for us to plan the mentorship that's coming after these sessions. NFTs, non-fungible tokens. I always like to explain this graph before we just move into what NFTs actually is, and Natalie is gonna be with me to explain what NFTs are. Now, if we want to think about the world, we know that we have physical assets and we have digital assets, and we have things that are fungible, meaning that you can copy and they would hold the same value, and then you have something that is non-fungible. So if you want to take an example of a physical fungible asset, it's fiat money. It's the money that we actually use, or you can touch. Now we don't touch it as much as we want in Europe because everything is through the banks, and we buy and live our lives using cards. But I know for a fact that in Lebanon, in Jordan, and lots of places in Africa, we still use cash. So if you want to think about a physical asset that is fungible, it's cash. And why is that? Because if I come to Natalie and tell her, can you lend me $1 today? And she would give me that $1. Next week, I can pay her back with another note of that $1 bills. That doesn't have to be the same note, but that different note that I'm giving back to Natalie holds the same value. And that's why money, fiat money, is fungible. $1 is equal to $1. One CFA is equals to another CFA. So this is what fungible is, and physical because you can touch it. It's physical, it's there, you can see it. Now, digital fungible assets, they have the same idea or concept of fungibility, meaning if I bought something, or if I wanted to go to Natalie, Miss Rich Natalie, and tell her, can you give me 5 Bitcoins? Can you lend me 5 Bitcoins? She would give me these 5 Bitcoins, and I owe her 5 Bitcoins. Now, if I came next week and gave her the same amount, which is 5 Bitcoins, they should have the same value in theory. Now, what happens is market volatility, meaning, $1 is not, we're not going to wake up the next day and find $1 is not equal to $1. But you very might, it's very much likely to wake up the next day and find that the value of your Bitcoin has increased or decreased because of the market volatility. At the same time, if I owe her 5, I give her 5 back because this is what I owe her. It's 5 Bitcoin. And if we did this at the same time of the transaction, they would be equal to each other. Now that's digital, fungible. Now physical and non-fungible. When we say non-fungible, it means that is unique, it's one of a kind. There is no other copy of this asset in the world. What are we talking about here when it comes to physical fungible? We're talking about, for example, paintings for Van Gogh, or we're talking about the Mona Lisa. You can take a lot of pictures of the Mona Lisa. You have a lot of, soft or JPEGs of the Mona Lisa, but the actual Mona Lisa is just one. Only one exists and it's unique. The same goes with precious stones, with diamonds. If you mine a diamond now, it's not gonna resemble any other diamond in the world. So that's non-fungible. So physical non-fungible, you can think of precious stones, you can think of arts, collectibles. It's one of a kind. Now, digital non-fungible. Digital non-fungible is what an NFT is. First of all, it's digital. You don't have a hard copy. You don't have a physical thing in front of you. It's digital. It's stored on the blockchain, and it's non-fungible, meaning there are no two similar NFTs ever. If I created an NFT today and I have minted it, it's on chain. You cannot come and create the same exact NFT. You cannot do that. So that's why NFTs are unique. They are one of a kind, and they are digital, and they are secure, and they are non-changeable, whatever that word is. I'm gonna pass on to Natalie now, and she's gonna give you an overview of NFTs as well.
I have a quick question before I start about NFTs. Everyone here, is there any artists? If there's any artist here, please raise your hand. Okay, it would be interesting to see, to use it as an example with NFTs. Okay, nice. There's Rosemary. Okay, so there's two people. So
you
what
have
is
Rosemary,
and
Sylvia,
Barbara?
and Barbara.
Okay, nice. Okay, let's say you have let's say a digital print or a painting that you would like to put it in the blockchain. When you do, it's an NFT, so it's a token. So what are NFTs? They're digital assets that they are stored on the blockchain, and usually it's on the Ethereum blockchain, but there's more than one blockchain. So it can be on the Bitcoin blockchain, there's Tezos blockchain. So, but the most common one is Ethereum. That's where more things are happening and more projects are minted, which we will learn more about in the next session, I guess. So they are unique and it cannot be replicated or exchanged. So like Lara was speaking before, once it's on the blockchain, they're blocks and they cannot be deleted. So once you mint your artwork, you can't delete them. So why is NFTs important for an artist? It's important because you have ownership and authenticity, which means you own this NFT because of the hash. There's different hashes. So this shows on the blockchain that this is a unique ownership and with a unique identification code. And it can be bought, it can be sold, it can be traded, and it determines with the market demand. So as Lara was saying, so if there's a high demand for the NFT, it's gonna be in a high price, and if it's not, it's gonna be a low price. Rosemary, you have a question? Okay, Rosemary has her hand up. Okay, never mind. Next slide. We're gonna. Okay, so the first ever NFT that was minted on the blockchain. It's called Quantum. You can look at it on Google, research about it. So it was minted in 2014. This was a groundbreaking creation because it was very popular, and they put it in the Ethereum blockchain. So it's like something historical for the NFT community and the Web3 community. And then in 2017, they introduced the ERC 721, which is part of the smart contracts that Dada was talking about, but we're gonna talk about it more in the next session. And this made this where the creation of a unique non-fungible token was created on the Ethereum network. And in 2020, a lot of people started selling. There was NFTs became super popular, and a lot of attention from the mainstream became, and more artists started selling their work. And since then, there has been a high on the Web3 from NFTs. Yeah, Lara.
Great. Yes. Thank you very much for taking us down that memory lane, as they say.
I hope
guys,
everyone understood. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to talk about the form. Please do attend to the form that was posted in the chats, because we would love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, if we are going too fast, too slow, too much, to anything, we will be more than happy to cater to this in the next session on the 12th of October. And you can also maybe we'll add our emails or just reach out to you guys as well if you have any questions from now till the 12th, whether you would like us to suggest some articles or any open source, information out there about NFTs and Web3, so you can, get familiarized with this. More than happy to. We're very sorry that we took 10 minutes extra. Please forgive us. It's hard to keep track with the tech stuff. Thank you very much.